I had this crazy idea to glue these squares together, 33 squares actually, and glue them all together, twisting them slightly to make kind of a twisting effect. I put a post in the center to kind of keep things straight. I used this grinder thing to carve off the edges to kind of make it all smooth, and it created a lot of dust. And then I hand sanded, which this was a lot of effort. I made this X brace and screwed it to the top of the base. This will be to help support the top. I wanted the top to have the same concept as the base, and I thought kind of a square spiral design would be neat. I made each piece extend past the square, the miter, so the next piece will continue, and instead of measuring, I traced each one and then cut it on the miter saw. I started out gluing it on wax paper because the glue peels off the wax paper pretty easily. I glued this piece in the center of a piece of plywood and then just kept adding pieces around until it got bigger and bigger. This piece was a little bowed, so I tacked this piece of plywood to the plywood and put shims on the sides to draw everything nice and tight. I left the piece of plywood a little bit bigger, so when I got close to the edge, I used my track saw to trim it flush with the last piece, or I should say the second to last piece. I'm using dominoes because it'll help when I glue it up to keep everything aligned. And this last piece is thicker, so it gets a real wood edge and covers up the plywood edge. For sanding large pieces like this, I take a pencil and mark it, so now I know where to sand and where I already sanded. To connect the top to the base, I use these threaded inserts and then screw mounting plates, and then put the top on and trace where the holes are, and drill holes for threaded inserts in the top. It's important to glue the threaded inserts so they don't come loose over time. Sometimes I forget to burn my logo on projects, but this time I remembered. I'm using this wipe-on polyurethane called Legacy from Total Boat, and I put a total of 3 coats on the base. For the top, I'm using a tabletop epoxy, and the first coat is a seal coat. I use a heat gun to get the bubbles out, and then sand it down, and I put 2 more coats of epoxy on after the seal coat. I put levelers on the bottom of the base because not every floor is level, and this base weighed 86 pounds, and the top weighed 52 pounds. So I screwed it all together, and this table is available for auction. The link is in my bio.